Hello everybody, and welcome to the first ever episode of Teenagers on Lockdown, the podcast. This podcast hopes to explore the ideas of politics, culture, and lifestyle during lockdown. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we hope you enjoy what we have in store. Okay everybody, so without further ado, we're now going to hand over to our hosts, Amber Stainton and Lily Fishman. Amber, over to you.
Hi, I'm Amber Stainton and I'm interested in politics, debating and theatre.
And Lily?
Hi, I'm Lily. I'm from the US. I find myself to be hilarious. I'm very interested in politics. Public policy is kind of the field I want to go into when I'm older.
Thank you so much, guys. So, to begin with, we'd like to start off with introducing something we're sure all of you are very interested in finding out the results of, our creative writing competition. 2 weeks ago, we launched our creative writing competition, Calling All Writers, and we received a record number of entries. As I'm sure the writing team will tell you, it's extremely hard to pick the best entries, but I'm now going to hand over to one of our adjudicators, Lara, to tell you the results.
So I am very happy to announce that the person that won HC is Digby Emmis. Third place was Felix Bo Nielsen. Second place is John Carlos Barog. And first place is Annika Kingsley Chuwuka. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong.
Thank you so much, Lara. And once again, we'd like to say thank you to not just our 4 winners, but to everybody who entered this competition. It was incredible to read all of your stories, and there are a lot of promising writers there. Now over to our hosts to discuss what I'm sure you will find very interesting.
Yeah, so in case y'all missed it, last night, I guess when you hear this, it won't have been last night, but last night, Kanye West decided it would be a snazzy idea to run for president. Now, listen, I'm not big on Kanye West or the Republican Party in general, so I'm not all too pleased by that. I'm going to be real here. So, you know, that is a very fun thing that my country's going to have to deal with for the next couple of months. So yay for us for that. Am I right?
Yes, it's a very interesting topic. As someone not from the US, just looking in on the situation, it's an extremely strange situation you've been put in because you have Trump, your current president, which everyone has different opinions on him. I know here in the UK, we also have opinions on him. And Biden is the other one. I know that other people also have very strong opinions on Biden. And now someone else who isn't your typical president is running for president, apparently.
So we've got the rapist, the sexual harasser, and the music industry star. So clearly, we've got some really excellent candidates here. I don't love Biden because, sexual harassment. He also did say that poor kids are just as smart as white kids. And obviously, that's also an issue. There's a couple things going on with Biden, but he's not a neo-Nazi, to the best of my knowledge. He has plans for climate change and, affordable housing.
It's good to see a person of colour run for president again. I know people don't agree with all of his policies, but the things that he did for public health care and everything like that really benefited America, I see.
Yeah, Obama was really freaking better than our current orange troll sitch that we've got going on. It's not really working out, guys. It's not us, it's him. Actually, no, it's 49% us too. But, in November, y'all in the US need to vote if you legally can. Don't commit voter fraud. But, no, thank you. We do not want him anymore. He can just kind of leave.
He's undone some of the very positive qualities that Obama had introduced, such as, things for healthcare and starting to put a bit of a limit on guns, because that's another big thing. Here in England, we have quite a big opinion on Americans' gun laws.
Yeah. What gun laws? I wasn't aware that we had any. So, seriously, guys, it's legal to own any number of guns. Whatever. If you go hunting, I'm not saying that I'm all pro hunting because I'm not. I'm a vegetarian.
Same. Vegetarian.
Yeah. But
another one.
If you have one gun and you're gonna go hunting, whatever, if you've got like a rifle and a pistol because you're one of those people, whatever. If you've got 37 guns,
just for the
should that
sake
be
of it.
legal?
And anyone, literally anyone with a gun, it's so easy to just shoot someone with it. It takes so little pressure to just pull the trigger.
It's not the vibe we're going for here.
Yeah.
Do you not think that perhaps people feel more protected by carrying guns?
If no one had guns without like a proper, really good screening process, and that it would only be used for like hunting or practicing, like if you're an expert in that kind of thing, then no one would feel the need to be protected because it wouldn't be out there. It works here in England. Yeah. It's just using it for purposes to harm people. Not nice.
Yeah, we really can't get behind that, guys. I'm going to be real. The whole country right now, kind of a mess, not going to lie.
The world is a bit of a mess. COVID, lockdown. Yeah. How do you think that we're going to come out of lockdown and COVID? Like, what do you think the world is going to be like?
Well, I'm sure other countries will come out of COVID. I'm not convinced that the US is going to survive COVID. Guys, have you seen our numbers right now? We're not in a good situation at the moment.
People with a lot of influential power in the US, I know celebrities, even ones in our generation, aren't exactly following social distancing laws, and they're not being very careful.
It's so ridiculous. It's not that hard. You don't need a freaking haircut. You can survive.
You don't need to go to the gym. There's such a thing as at-home workouts.
It's not that hard to live without those things. Like, you don't need a haircut to survive. You don't need a manicure to survive.
No one's seeing you anyway.
It's also like those going on protests to ask for the countries to be reopened, to those condemning people going out for Black Lives protests due to the middle of a pandemic.
I think that Black Lives Matter is a very controversial topic at the moment. Everyone has the right to their own opinion. Obviously, I'm not going to say all lives matter and everything. I think that everyone should be equal, and it's time that Black lives are recognised. The protesting is a hard subject because a lot of people are breaking social distancing and potentially causing the COVID cases to skyrocket again. But it's also for a good cause. What do you think?
Actually, there's been a lot of research done on if the Black Lives Matter protests are causing the COVID cases to go up. And what they've actually found is that largely that's not the case, because for pretty much every protest, you are required to wear a mask. So there's not actually a lot of COVID transmission there. And I know for a lot of protesters, it's the mindset, the police are going to kill me or COVID is going to kill me. So might as well go and like protest the police. You know?
It's a lot better to be breaking social distancing laws for protesting rather than just going to the beach.
Yeah, for sure. Like, of all the things that you could be not social distancing for, Black Lives Matter protests is kind of one of the only valid options there.
Yeah.
People who are using that as a way to invalidate the protests, honestly, disgusting. It's so insane, because then you have all those white protesters with their freaking AR-15s run up to the state capitol, like, don't make me wear a mask, you're treading on my rights. And
yeah,
no
like, it's my
like
body,
that.
my rights. No one was saying that when people were being assaulted.
100%.
My body, my right. All of a sudden you have to wear a mask. And then people are being racist against Asians at the beginning of it because, masks don't work. Well, they do. And it's been scientifically proven. So, and now all of a sudden everyone's wearing Gucci and fancy masks that don't even work.
Yeah.
Like, they're just pieces of cloth. Get a medical one. It's not that hard.
Well, one of the issues is in the United States, it is pretty hard to get the medical grade masks, just because there's so much demands for them at like hospitals and stuff. So what they're saying, are like CDC guidance, is that you don't need a medical grade mask, but you need some sort of face covering. What they found recently is like the bandanas don't really work that well. But if you buy a cloth mask, that's honestly probably fine.
There's lots of really good DIY ones that you can just find on the internet. And I know that the government here in the UK has broadcast a few that you can make at home really easily. Just protect yourself. That's the main message.
Yeah, for sure. Also happening right now is all of the Confederate statues, mainly in the South. One of my friends got in an Instagram fight with some guy who was saying, like, gotta preserve the history. And I'm like,
preserve the history of rapists, sexual assaulters, people who have enslaved innocent people just so they could make more money when they don't actually need it.
So glorifying racists, if that's your thing, that's also not okay. But it's definitely not my thing.
Yeah.
Like, it's so ridiculous that people would ever be able to justify glorifying a racist, a cake hamper, a rapist. Like, it's so incredibly insane. Something that I've seen a lot is like, you don't see Germany preserving Nazi statues to preserve their history. Exactly right. Because Germany is like apologizing to the victims of their oppression, and we're over here like denying their experiences. Yeah. Seriously, the US needs to like apologize.
They need to take a step back and actually realize what's happening.
We need to take a lesson from other countries. You see, Australia has like National Sorry Day or whatever that's called for the abuses of like Indigenous peoples. And then we're over here in the US like, oh yeah, it's a pandemic. We're just going to like take away your land. That happened in my state, actually. The government disestablished the Mashpee Wampanoag land in the middle of the pandemic. And I do think it ended up being reestablished because there's like, public outcry naturally. Other countries, they know how to apologize.
And they take responsibility for their actions. They see that they were in the wrong. And that's what the US at the moment is struggling to realize. Like school shootings still happening.
It's so ridiculous because we have all this data to back up stuff that's happening. And then we have the freaking president, and he's like, oh yeah, did you guys know that if you inject bleach into your veins, you won't get the coronavirus? And then we have people dying
and people
in Georgia from doing that.
Because they listened to someone who had no scientific evidence that would work. And they thought, all he thought was, bleach kills everything. Yeah, it also kills people.
What do you guys think of the celebrations for Independence Day and many Native American groups choosing not to commemorate it?
As I said yesterday, happy 4th of July. Today would be a great day to arrest the police that killed Breonna Taylor. It's ridiculous to me that we're celebrating this Independence Day, as some people choose to call it, when so many of our citizens are not free. Yeah. We've got Indigenous peoples that are having their land taken away. They're being sexually assaulted, murdered at like 6 times the rate of the rest of the population. We've got people of color who are being killed in the streets by police day after day. This is not
just because they were wearing a hoodie or waving their arms suspiciously.
It's ridiculous. And then people are like, oh yeah, happy Independence Day. And like, who's independent here? White cis European guys that are like Christian? Like, seriously? It's completely insane. I cannot get behind it. Jimmy Kimmel did a segment where he asked Trump supporters, like, what could Trump do that would lose your support? And they're all like, nothing. And Jimmy Kimmel's like, if he killed someone, would you still support him? And they're like, yeah. And that is terrifying. It is this ridiculous, like, mob mentality of, like, everything he's saying must be true. It's absolutely insane.
Just because he's a person in power. People lie all the time.
The guy was friends with Jeffrey Epstein, and everybody just kind of, like, pretends that didn't happen. Like,
I know.
That's not okay.
Like, you must have seen the Netflix documentary, people.
Yeah, it's so insane because then you look back at things that Trump has said in the past, too, where he's like, the Central Park Five need to be, like, arrested or whatever.
Yeah. Subjectifying girls in beauty pageants.
Oh, yeah. Grab him by the... I don't think I'm allowed to say that word on a podcast. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
and saying that...
He's like, I would date my daughter. Like, it's so...
If she wasn't my daughter, I would be dating her. That's just sick.
The president of the United States is racist, sexist, homophobic, neo-Nazi.
Yeah. He literally said when a girl in a beauty pageant gained weight, he repeatedly called her Miss Piggy. That's just objectifying girls on another level. We're already forced to fit societal beauty standards, and now we're being objectified for our weight. What about that whole body positivity movement?
Yes, it's insane. And when he said that, like, if a girl is flat-chested, it's very hard for her to be a 10.
Yeah.
Like, it's so toxic masculinity at its finest.
Yeah,
people.
fragile masculinity. To be honest, if I was an American citizen, I'd vote Kanye.
Well, maybe we could vote Biden because Biden's a Dem and has a chance of winning.
It's just because it's good to see someone of color represented in the media positively.
I mean, Kanye, okay, someone give me like one fact that would make him a suitable candidate.
He has children that he doesn't sexualize.
Oh, well, in that case, if that's our bar, I know a lot of people that could be president. Like, seriously, none of these people are supposed to be present. The presidential candidates are supposed to be the best people that our country has to offer. And we've got
That will
two
lead us to a
rapists
better
and a rapper.
future. Why don't we just make Greta Thunberg the president of the United States?
I mean, I'll take her.
If I'm going to be honest, I haven't seen all of Hamilton.
You haven't seen all of Hamilton?
I'm sorry. I got
Oh my God, have
interrupted.
you
I
at
had
least
to
listened
finish
to
an
it?
essay.
Oh my God. Okay. I stayed up until 3 a.m. to watch Hamilton. I was up until 6 that morning. I got in trouble for it. And then later that day, I went to my friend's house and I watched it again. Oh my goodness. What did
Okay,
you
I
say?
have to watch it all tonight.
I mean, it's gotta be hard for y'all Brits to go through that again. I know you must be reliving the pain of us leaving. Actually, no, you're probably like, oh, thank God they're gone. I mean, that would be my reaction at the moment. It's so crazy because we're talking about all these like dystopian novels and like,
Our world
awful
has turned
historical
to
events,
chaos.
and I'm like, wait, I really see that in my country right now. Like anarchy? Yeah. Actually, I had a friend the other day say, honestly, I'm starting to prefer anarchy at this point.
Yep.
And that was a bit of a shock.
Let the world
But like
burn.
seriously, that's happening. Because we had in Washington State, we had the Capitol Hill Occupy protests, which just got shut down.
Yeah.
I was so upset when they shut that down. Just let them live in anarchy and peace. Okay, well, I know that there's like deaths, so you know, it's really insane that there's actual anarchy happening in parts of my country right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot to wrap your head around.
And what's even worse is that this is still happening in what we call a 21st century and a modern society. The fact that people are being discriminated against because of something they can't control, like the color of their skin or because of their sexual preference. You can't control that kind of thing.
And how hard is it to move to Canada? Like, really, though? Like, is it a long process?
I'll take the snow. We don't get snow here. We just get sleet. It's horrible. And rain.
So
Can I just
things.
ask, in America, do they think that we actually drink tea all the time?
Yes, we do think that. Okay, I was on a call with a Brit one time, and his dad comes in and goes, would you like a cup of tea? He's like, yes, that would be lovely. And I was like, what is this? Because my parents are like, well, you gotta come make us dinner. And then the Brits are like, would you like a spot of tea?
Yeah, it's just tea is such a thing. Like, and the perfect cup of tea, it can't have too much milk because, it's horrible if it has too much milk. And no more. Okay, if you have more than 1 cube of sugar, you're a psychopath.
Okay, I drink my tea with nothing in it. I don't drink coffee, I drink tea. I'm not supposed to have caffeine, but sometimes I do. I don't.
Okay, when you're saying tea, please don't say iced tea.
No, hot tea.
Oh, thank goodness.
I'll have like iced green tea, but like not iced black ite. Iced black tea is
green
nasty.
tea's good.
Green tea slaps. Guys, if we make it out of this quarantine, that'll be quite a few.
Over here, a lot of people are actually breaking social distancing quarantine a lot, which is not very good. The protests are happening over here as well. We're having the BLM ones as well. I don't hear about them as much on the news as the ones in America, to be honest. They're not as widely commercialized.
And the pubs reopened yesterday as well, so there are floods getting in, getting drunk.
Oh, yes, I heard. Drinking culture in England is such a culture shock because in the US, you can't legally drink until you're 21. So if you're under 21, you don't talk about drinking because you will get in legal trouble. Well, like, they're not going to, like, arrest you, probably. But, like, you know, you get in trouble. You get, like, your license taken away and stuff. So no one talks about it. And then all the Brits, they're, like, 16. They're like, yeah, so I went to the pub with my niece the other day.
Yeah. Drinking culture is a big thing. We just go to there's usually a ritual. I know in some families, we go to the pub every Friday night, that kind of thing. No, but literally, we've been doing it since I was a baby. Like, you bring children to the pub.
Americans do think that Brits just, like, have tea every afternoon.
I mean, I have at least 1 cup of tea a day, sometimes 2 or 3, depending if I'm seeing people. Whenever you see someone, if you see someone, they always go, do you want a cup of tea? want a cuppa. And then you always have tea, and everyone knows their tea preference from a very young age. If you don't, then you're not British.
Yes. Well, I am not British, so it does work out.
What is your tea preference?
I like black tea, just like plain.
You just get hot water, dunk the tea bag in, and just drink it. In England, because we don't have, oh, hello, lovely. We don't have like the classic English accent. There's different English accents. Like you can have a Manchester one or a Liverpool one. Oh, and of course there's the Essex accent. I haven't been to Essex and I don't plan to.
I have Texas. I don't have intentions to go to Texas.
Texas seems interesting.
Yeah.
And I only just discovered this recently. Like a lot of the US is just desert, like Arizona. What is up with that? Like you're in Phoenix and it's like madness, and then you drive out of it and you're straight in the middle of the desert.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of desert. It's either desert or forest. There's kind of no in between. If you're in the Midwest, it's just like fields. Anywho,
I feel like on that note, it would be great to draw this episode to a close.
Yes.
For our audience,
I think that's for the better.
No more strange accents from us.
Yeah.
Until next time, at least.
to our audience, thank you so much for coming. I really hope that you enjoyed this episode and you look forward to more next week. Thank you very much, and
Thank y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Teenagers on Lockdown, the podcast, was produced by lockdownblog.org in partnership with TA Music.